What is going on, folks? Hope you had a wonderful Easter holiday. Whole weekend, as a matter of fact. Hope you had a great time. But we got a few things to cover. We're going to be bouncing around a little bit here tonight, but mainly we're here to talk about what your favorite books and movies are in the post-apocalyptic genre. And I'm going to give you a tip on your preps that might lighten things up if it really does go bad. We're going to try to lighten the mood a little bit for you. So let's get on with what's happening. Who we got in the house tonight? First one in was Iowa. All right. Appreciate that, Kathy. You guys are up there. Paul, Michelle, appreciate you being here with me. All right. Chris Barnett's back. Hadn't seen you in a couple of weeks, or maybe I just missed you. You might have been here and I just wasn't paying attention to the comments, but I'm glad you're here. Who else we got in the house here? Michael O'Brien, good faithful viewer right there. Appreciate it, buddy. Who else? Lynn. Lynn is back with us. There we go. Greg Harmon's with us. Who's your prepper nurse? All right. Glad you could make it this time. I know you can't always make these live streams, so I do appreciate it when you do get in here with us. And Metal Textiles with us. John H., the Arkansas contingency.
Rebecca's in the garden.
Rebecca's in the garden. Yeah. Yeah. Miss Jobs is with us. Sanford, Florida. Joe Torsine. Fourth and goal. There we go. We got a good bunch in here tonight. So we might as well get started. What do you think? I want to start with asking you guys to say a prayer for Lori. She was supposed to get her surgery today. Hopefully that went well. So say a prayer for her and for Glenn Anderson. He's another member of our contingency here. He actually had to have emergency surgery on Saturday. I'm not exactly sure what that was for. Lori's the one that actually posted it on her Facebook page. On her YouTube channel. She put up a post that said Glenn had to have surgery. So let's say a prayer for them folks. They're members of our community here, and we love them. So hopefully we can get them going. Thanks, Fluffy, for coming in. All right. First thing I want to talk about is what happened in Louisville today. There were 2 shootings up there. Of course, that's terrible. So let's also say a prayer for the victims and their families. Hopefully they'll get through this. We know we lost 4 people, not counting the perpetrator. That one don't count. He brought it on himself. Looks like it's a case of workplace violence. From what I heard, the guy used to work there, but I hadn't heard any more particulars on the case other than that. So hopefully they'll get through that without any more problems to the families or whatever. But what really ticked me off was the mayor of Louisville. First thing he did, he jumped on he was up. The way I see it, the mayor should be there to support the community and his police officers, first responders. No, the first thing out of this guy's mouth was the phrase gun violence. He used that phrase 8 times in the first 2 minutes of his speech there during his news conference. Gun violence, gun violence, gun violence. He's trying to blame it on the gun. Well, that's the last thing people need in a situation like that. If you're going to lay blame, lay it where it belongs, on the perpetrator. Don't blame it on the tool. It's correct. Gun violence is not a real thing anyway. I got to call bullshit on that. It's not real. Gun violence is not real. Somebody gets stabbed to death, is that knife violence? If they get bludgeoned to death with a hammer, is that hammer violence? No, you never hear those phrases. When somebody's using that phrase during an incident like this, they're one of 2 things, or maybe both. They're a liberal huckster who don't give a damn about your right to defend yourself. They want you to be defenseless. It's that simple. What would have happened if, say, 2 people in that bank where you can't carry a gun legally? What if 2 of them had guns that was inside that bank? Been a lot, only 4 died, but 8 others were shot. I guarantee you, if just two people in there were armed, there wouldn't have been that many people shot. Guarantee you.
You can't carry a gun in the bank.
Right. You can't do that.
Tell them the weird law about what my cousin told us
let,
today about.
let me finish my point here.
Yeah.
That's one of the things they are. And the second one is an and or they're stupid. They're just plain dumb stupid. If they're trying to sell you that gun violence argument, they might have bought into it themselves, but they're just trying to spew that crap is all it is. They're either lying to you or they're dumb. There's no in between.
Sure.
But Lady Prepper has relatives that live there, and she was texting back and forth with one of them. He lives there in Louisville. They have a constitutional open carry law in Kentucky. You can carry a gun on your hip, walk around like Dodge City. But if you conceal that weapon, you got to have a permit. As long as it's out where anybody can see it, you don't have to have a permit. But if it's covered up and concealed in any way, you got to buy a permit. Now, I think that's some of the dumbest shit I ever heard of right there.
Well, it comes down to if you prefer to check in your shirt or not, which one you have to go with.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said many times here before, I don't want to walk around with my gun showing because I don't want anybody to know I have it.
Right.
Especially if I'm in a situation like that, because you know how I feel about it. You're going to be the first target. If somebody walks in, they see you with a gun on your hip and they want to shoot people up, you're going to be one of the first ones to go. So I ain't all in favor of that open carry thing. I did tell you last week that Florida is now a concealed carry state without a permit. That's a good thing. So I hate what happened up there today, but when the very first government official that speaks starts all that gun control crap, you lost me right there. Problem's not the gun, it's the idiot carrying it. It's that simple. Which kind of goes into, the next little thing here I want to talk about. We all know that the trans community, as they like to be called, have gotten turned pretty violent here lately. They advertise it all over the internet, social media, everywhere. Well, when something like this happens and the White House supports them doing that, and at the same time, the White House wants to take your right not to carry to carry a gun. They want to take that away from you. But they're telling these people to be violent? No, ain't gonna work. Not for me. But what this is the story actually that made me decide I wanted to go to Thursday night instead of Monday night. I'm gonna show you those poll results in a minute. This one right here, where the female pastor compared the Nashville shooter to Jesus. I found this out on Wednesday, and nobody else had actually talked about it up to that point. But then on Friday, it seems like everybody found it. Even Tucker Carlson mentioned it on his show. But this is what's wrong with our country right here. They want you to be unarmed, but they want your enemies to be armed. And this right here is just beyond stupid. This person right here, I mean, it's a female that identifies as trans. As far as I'm concerned, they got no business doing what they're doing. If that was if that was a person in my church, I'd be the first one out the door, and I'd tell them why. But that's ridiculous. And then of course, Kamala had to jump in the mix when the Tennessee legislature expelled two of their members that went outside the chambers, got protesters, and brought them into the floor. They weren't protesting outside. They came. The legislature members went out and got them and brought them into the chambers, and they marched around the floor. I'm sure you guys heard about that. I don't know if you saw how serious it was, but two of them got expelled. A third one was censored, I guess you would say. She was told, kind of cool it or she's out. They saved her skin by one vote, but the other two they kicked out. And of course, our illustrious vice president goes there to support them. She didn't go there to support the families of the victims. She went there to support the radicals who brought protesters into the Capitol. And that tells you a lot right there about where our government stands on you being able to defend yourself. But, these kind of things are they're getting worse and worse and worse every day. The left is pushing more and more. I really think they're trying to push us to a point of violence so they can fall back and claim victimhood. And of course, the media will be right there with them, helping them out, spreading the word that all the conservatives are just terrible human beings. And, they're the ones that started all of this. And the liberals are the victims, even though we all know better. The problem is probably 75% of the general public don't know any better. They don't pay attention to the news. And when they do, it's after a situation like this. And they listen to what the liberal media tells them. So it's just going to get worse and worse. They're just going to keep pushing, guys. Just going to keep pushing. Oh, we got somebody new here.
Ting ting.
Ting ting, American Chinese living in Tulsa. Well, welcome aboard. I appreciate you being here. I truly do.
Tell
All
your
right.
friends, come join us.
Yeah, have all your friends come on over. I don't know, if they'll like it or you'll like it. Hopefully you will, but maybe I can help you out with something. Linda Farrow's with us. All right. Appreciate that. Tammy Joe dropped in. There we go. Got a good bunch in here tonight. Oh, what else are we going to talk about before we get into the fun part? Oh, the petroleum reserve, Federal Petroleum Reserve that Joe's been draining. He's cut it in half. We used to have 4 of these huge storage facilities for our oil. Well, now we're just down to 2. And they're saying that they can't fill those up because there's maintenance problems with them. And, they can't get that corrected so they can be, restocked, stored up. But it's just another case of this administration making our country weaker. So we have half of the oil reserves we used to have for our military to use to protect our country. And it's not going to get any better. They just basically said, no, those are shut down and we're going to leave it right there with that. So, and all this is on the heels of what's going on with China. They keep pushing and pushing and pushing them with China. Well, they're not playing with politicians with their mentality. They're playing with people that don't mind destroying our country. So, liberals have this mindset that everybody thinks like they do because they're elitist. They know what's best for the world. And they think other leaders are the same way. Well, no, other leaders aren't. I have no doubt in my mind that China would love nothing more than for the United States not to exist. But that's another case where I could be wrong. That's why I believe that if we ever do go to war with Russia directly or China, I don't believe it'll be a nuclear exchange because they're not going to want this country to be a pile of rubble that they're going to take over. And they will take it over if we're attacked because we don't, military experts are telling us we don't have the equipment to protect ourselves because we spent so much over in Ukraine laundering money for the Democratic Party. So we've left ourselves exposed. And it's not getting better. Right there's proof of that. They've drained the oil supply. They're not going to resupply. What?
I have a question.
All right.
If they don't get in a nuke thing, if they EMP us, does that make it once they wipe us out that way, they could come and take over our country and rebuild it?
Yep.
Is that what
That's exactly what will happen.
Is that what?
I think.
When you said that popped in my head. The difference between nuclear and having an EMP hit us.
Yeah, if you're going to take over another country, you don't want it to be a pile of rubble.
Right.
But if you just turn the lights out, you can come in and restore all of that, and you got a functioning country again. So that's what I would do if I was going to take over the United States, and I had the ability to knock it out with an EMP. I would do it. Yeah, I would do it. Then wait like 6 months, let all of us kill each other, and then you can move your troops in and just annihilate what's left or control what's left. That's what the future war is going to look like. That's
sad. That's
my opinion.
We'd kill each other.
Yeah. I mean, we
Wow.
probably within 6 or 8 months, about 75 or 80% of us would have killed each other, and what's left would be easy to take over. So
We won't go down without a fight.
yeah, make sure you got those precious metals that fly at high velocities. Let me
Yeah.
put it that way.
Won't go out quiet.
I believe you're right. This young lady right here is on the ball. Look at that. Destroying the oil reserve and depleting the military was an inside job. Absolutely. Our current administrator would love nothing better than to leave us as weak as possible. J.R. Swackhammer, thanks for being here. All right.
Look what Chris said. That's so true. We talked about that last week.
Yep.
Well, people go crazy without their phones.
Yeah.
Dependent on them.
Well, when they get down to where they don't have any food, wait till you see what happens then.
Yeah.
It's going to get terrible. But like I said, it won't take long. 6 months, 8 months. 75, 80% of us will have killed each other off, starved to death, died of disease or something. But, I think exactly what this young lady said. It's all an inside job. It's planned, and it's working. All right. What else we going to bitch about here tonight? The banking problem. You guys hadn't heard anything lately about the banking situation since a couple of banks went under, and that was a few weeks ago, and it's just kind of died off. Think it's over? Nope, it's not. This is just a start for PNC. They're going to close almost 50 branches in 15 states by the end of June. The banking industry is dying.
That's a big bank.
Yep, it is a big bank.
That's not a community bank.
No, that's a big one. That's a national bank.
Wow.
And they're going down the tubes. But J.P. Morgan, the CEO at J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon, he's saying, this is just a start. There's a lot more coming in the long run. And I believe he's right. Guy didn't get where he is being stupid. He's a pretty smart guy. So he knows what's coming. And he's trying to tell everybody. So hopefully you're listening to him. I know I am. I like to do a lot of research in the mornings while I have my coffee. And this, that things happen and they go away, and people don't realize they're still happening unless you jump in there and start looking at those secondary news sources. You get away from Fox and CNN and NBC and all of those. You get over to those smaller news sources that are telling you the truth. Those folks stay on top of the ball actually more than the big national news organizations do. Have no doubt. I've got a nephew that worked for Fox News in Nashville, and he and I were talking just last night, and he was telling me how once they get on a topic with a particular politician that they don't like, they tell them to stay on it, just stay on it, keep harping on it. And that's a Fox affiliate, but now that wasn't a Fox affiliate, it's a Fox station, but it's a separate news organization. But it's just all of this stuff is planned. They do that way to keep you distracted. So just keep your eyes on the ball, guys. Keep your eyes on the ball.
He's a great example, though, of his age group asking questions about prepping, and we're starting to get it.
Yep. He called me last night, and he's kind of worried about.
Important.
He's kind of worried about what's going on, and he was asking me where he should start. What kind of things he needs to put in reserve first. And how old is he now? He's 30.
He's a 30-something.
35 maybe.
That just thinks the world is rainbows.
Yeah, he's in that age group that don't care about stuff like this. They're not on top of these things.
They have a bottle of wine and a box of crackers until the next grocery trip.
Yeah. He's starting to see the light, and he wanted to know where to go. So thank goodness he tapped into a resource he had in the family that would steer him in the right direction. So hopefully I helped him out. But let's move on to some fun stuff, guys. I put out a couple of videos over the month saying you can't concentrate on the bad stuff all the time. If you do, you're going to burn out. So what I want you guys to do, if you would, Give me the title of your favorite book. You know, survival related, post apocalyptic, something like that. Put it in here. Tell me what you got. And what I want to do, me and Lady Pepper is going to put together a list of those books. And then we're going to do a video strictly on that. And we're going to publish that list for you.
Movies too.
So I'm about to get in that in just a minute.
I'm sorry. Sorry, jumped ahead.
She's trying to get ahead of me over here. But your favorite books. Right here's two of mine. You guys saw Walt on this live stream a couple of weeks ago. His books, Charlie books, as he calls them, they're great books. If you hadn't read them, both of these books, and Chris, A. American, he's a buddy of mine too. But you know, both of these series, I have to highly recommend both of them. The Going Home series, I think it's called the Survivalist series or something like that, is it has so much prepping information in there. It's a great story. If you haven't read that one, you know, if you just read that first one, I guarantee you're going to read every one of them.
It's 11 books so far.
Yeah, so far it's 11 of them, yeah. And Chris is working on the 12th one right now. So just jump out there and grab those. I've read these entire series, especially the one Fourth and Gold recommends there. That's a really good one. You really need to jump out there and get that one.
Yeah.
It's not.
Anybody we know?
It's got nothing to do with prepping, but it's a pretty good book. It's action adventure. Who's Your Prepping Nurse is reading Surviving Home Now. Yes, it is a great series. The Boxcar Children. I got to think maybe that's about something based in Nazi Germany. You would think. If not, I'm sure that was the inspiration for it.
Somebody else said that's a good book too, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I will check that one out. There's another recommendation for it. Jess44, how are you tonight? Great to see you in here. What's Rebecca got going here? Other than the Bible, which is 100% spot on, anything by Mark Goodwin, Millie Cooper, both faith-based, no foul language. Okay, that's cool. Let's check those out. Like I said, we're going to get this list together and we're going to put it on the video. We're going to publish it on the video. Book of Eli. That's another good one right there. Absolutely. 1 second after. Yeah, I just finished that one, Tammy. I sure did. I'm working on the second one right now. Kathy's with us. Kaylee's with us tonight. Yeah, better late than. All right. That's right. I appreciate you coming in here. What's Kathy got going here?
Football. I've not heard that one.
Football? Nope. I haven't even heard of that one. I'll check it out. See, not only are you giving me a good list to compile here, I'm also going to check all of these out. Foxfire series. Yep. Read that one. That is some good stuff right there. Happy Easter. Hope everyone is all well. All right. Thanks, Jess. Appreciate it. But, you know, that's the kind of thing we need to, you know, maybe some of these books that read really easy, don't get too technical. You can pass them on to, you know, your teenage children. Let me put it that way. I wouldn't pass them on to anybody younger, that's for sure. Here late, Goody. I appreciate you being here, even if you're late. Yeah, we're just now getting into the fun part. We're sharing a lot of information here. So hopefully that'll help you out. This is for you guys.
What's the Ted Koppel book?
Lights Out.
Lights Out, yeah. That's a good one. That one, that's scary to read. That like freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, Lights Out is
that's like real stuff.
Yeah.
It's not even fiction. That's like real.
Yeah, if you do read Lights Out, it's got a lot of technical stuff in it, but it's not a fiction book. It's real. Everything in there is real.
Yeah.
And a lot of that video that I shared with you guys, Grid Down, Power Up, a few weeks ago, a lot of the information in that book was in that video. As a matter of fact, they interviewed Ted Koppel for that little, they called it a movie, but it's more just a documentary. It's only about an hour long. So if you hadn't checked that out, you need to really check that video out.
Oh my gosh, all these suggestions I'm
Yeah.
reading for the next 10 years.
Deborah D. Moore series. Prep EMP series. All right, journal series.
Impulse.
Impulse. I've heard of that, but I hadn't read it. Yeah. All right. Got some good suggestions there.
Yeah.
Appreciate all the input, guys. But now here comes the one that's easy for everybody. Your favorite movie that falls in that genre. What's your favorite movie? I got one. Of course, I've probably seen them all, but my favorite was that one right there, The Postman with Kevin Costner.
Oh, that was good.
I really enjoyed that movie. A lot of people didn't like it. The critics panned it, but I think basically that's because I remember back when this came out, a lot of people saying it was so far fetched it would never happen and stuff like that.
And it was Kevin Costner.
Yeah, you like Kevin Costner?
Just saying.
Is he one of your pretty boys?
Yeah. What was the other pretty boy one we watched where they went into the gate and they had the little kid with the insulin in the car, and they had to fight their way to get into the tunnel.
I can't remember. We've seen so many of them.
Oh, it was the guy that was on the president's shows. That's the president movies.
Well,
It'll come to me.
Another Deborah Moore fan right there. All right. Day After Tomorrow. Yep, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was good.
That had Dennis Quaid in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, Rebecca, if y'all watched that video that I posted a couple of weeks ago, but he's the one that actually produced that video about problems with the grid. And it's all fact-based, and it scared the heck out of you.
The guy from Olympus Is Falling. That guy.
Oh,
what was that movie?
Greenland.
Greenland.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Greenland.
Yes, that was good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jeez, I was going to have to go to sleep and have a nightmare over it.
Gerard Butler, White House Down.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I don't know if you consider that post-apocalyptic, but it was a damn mess, that's for sure.
Yeah, it
All
was.
right. Of course, everybody saw The Road. I think you did. If you didn't, you need to check that one out too. It's got Viggo Mortensen in it. It's kind of tough. It's harsh, but it's more, it's reality. So, check those out. I think you'll enjoy them. Same as Joe's book recommendation there, The Book of Eli. That was a great movie. And the end of it, buddy, it's a shocker. It's a good one, though. You'll really enjoy the end of that one.
Yeah, who started that?
That was Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
But it had one of my favorite bad guys in it. Oh, shoot. What was that guy's? Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great actor. And he plays a bad guy, and he plays a good bad guy in everything he does. He was the one in Air Force One that kidnapped the president. That's awesome. All right. I'm not seeing a lot of recommendations here for movies, but I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that likes watching those. So I'll make that book list up for you. I'll work on that, and I'll produce a video in a couple of weeks. But let's move on here. We're going to get into what your it looks like I'm going to run over, so I'm going to get into what your prep recommendations are for what you need to store, coming up, along with the books, a good library, stuff like that. Don't know if you'd want to read those books after shit hit the fan, though.
True. You're living it at that point.
There's a lot of good prepper tips in the two I recommended, so yeah, that would help. But the things I think you need to add to your preps, if you haven't already, is things like board games. You're going to have some kind of distraction if stuff goes sideways. Stick you some board games in there. Get you a little 12 volt DVD player. Get you one of those little portable DVD players, and get you some a good library of DVDs. Of course, you need to stick the player into your Faraday cage. Make sure nothing happens to it. But I recommended the 12 volt for a reason, because if you get a 12 volt solar power bank, you can recharge that DVD player if it has a rechargeable battery, or you can just hook it up to it and watch it. A lot of those smaller solar power generators, 300, 500 watts, stuff like that, it would run one of those very easily, keep it charged up. And, that's a good distraction, is just movies that you,
Especially if you have kids.
yeah, if you got little kids, make sure you have children's movies, stuff
Like
like
the
that.
Going Home series, they shared that one iPad, and the girls watch the movies all the time off of it. Remember?
Yep. That was Chris's book,
Yeah.
Chris's series. They were always watching that little DVD player
And
throughout those
that
series.
just kept them going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you also need to make sure you stick some candy in those preps, guys. You don't want to just be eating beans and rice forever. You got to have something to lighten up the mood occasionally, little sweet tooth. Yeah. You can see right here that the longest lasting candy is, the hard candies like lollipops or Jolly Ranchers or just those little round peppermint, stuff like that. Things like that will store a long time. But for the ladies out there, as you can see, the softer candies, dark chocolate lasts longer than any of the other soft candies. This right here says that it'll last up to 3 years, if it's in an airtight container. But I would say maybe if you vacuum pack those in jars, that they would probably last a lot longer than that. And that would be something that would really, be nice to have, after you've been eating MREs for 3 days or, canned goods for 2 weeks or whatever, a little candy, a little chocolate, something like that would be nice to have and would lighten the mood. A lot of people are going to be under a lot of stress if this does happen. So, just a deck of cards would absolutely lighten the mood.
And your resource for yard sales, because people get rid of games and puzzles all the
Yeah,
time.
and puzzles.
You overlook those when you go to yard sales looking for prep items when there's games and puzzles sitting right there for like 50 cents a piece.
Yeah, puzzles is another good distraction. But like she said, hit up those yard sales, secondhand stores or whatever.
That stuff is so cheap.
Because you can pick them up so cheap, $1 or $2 a piece, and just stack them like you would silver. Just stack them. Get you a bunch of them. Variety's always good for a distraction. But that'll take somebody's mind off of the mess they're in the middle of, if just for a little while. It'd be good to sit down and play a game of Monopoly and, munch on some Jolly Ranchers or something like that. That would be a great distraction in hard times. It really would. So, I think that's a good idea. I wanted to pass it on to you guys. Hopefully, it'll help you out somewhere down the road. But now we're going to get on to what's going to happen with this Monday night live stream. Right here's the results of the poll I took. I asked you guys if I should stay on Mondays or go to Thursday nights. And as you can see, the outcome was overwhelming for Thursday nights. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be doing this on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm not going to be able to do it this week because I'm going to be in the woods on Thursday night. But next Thursday, we're going to get a show together for next Thursday night. Hopefully, I won't have to wait a week for stories to go by that way. That's the main reason why I'm doing this, because basically on Monday nights, everything's already been told. Everybody's already talked about it. And I appreciate you guys coming to visit me anyway. But we're going to try to get it to you a little sooner. So hopefully we can tell you the things that you need to know. Board games are healthy. You're right. They are. They make you think. What she recommend? Popcorn. Does popcorn store well? I need to check into that.
I think that unpopped kernels do, as long as you keep them dry.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to have to check into that. That's a good idea.
Because you could do that in a pan with a little oil over an open fire and get your popcorn.
Right. Just a little bit of oil.
Put the lid on, not like my grandma did when I was a little
Shake
girl.
it up.
Let popcorn go everywhere. Put the lid on.
All right. If you guys have any recommendations you want to share, shoot them to me in an email. Junker naked. Shoot them to me in an email if you didn't bring them up here. Or if you're watching this on replay and you got some recommendations for books, movies, games, whatever, candy that people can store, ways that will entertain people that they can use after everything goes sideways. Keep your eyes on the money guys, because I'm telling you, France, the president of France met with what's his name, Macron. He met with Chinese officials this past week, and he's going to actively try to get every country in Europe to get off that dollar. I keep telling you guys, if that happens, it's going to get nasty. It's going to get real nasty. Your money ain't going to be worth a damn. Gerard Butler wasn't in White House down. Olympus has fallen. That's right. You're right. It was Olympus has fallen.
Oh, I thought he was in both of them.
No, White House down was the ripoff of the original. Yeah. But yeah, right there. Get that silver, guys. Your money's going to go bad. I saw Larry Kudlow on Fox the other day talking about how he's not worried about the dollar collapsing, because 90% of the world trade is still done in U.S. dollars. Well, a year ago, it was 100%. He didn't bother to mention that. He just said, we ain't worried about them leaving. We ain't worried about it. We're still doing good. Well, what's going to happen when, like, Europe bails off on us? You know, maybe that old idiot will start worrying about it. That's, as soon as he said that, I told Lady Prepper, I said, that guy's an idiot.
How could 10% be 17 countries? That sounds like more than 10%.
It is. He
I
just.
don't think his numbers are right.
Well, Fox is like every other
and those are
news
some
organization.
big countries. It's not
What?
like.
Yeah, you're talking about India, China, Russia.
That's not 10% of the world.
No, it's, he was just downplaying it, and it's going to come back to bite us probably much sooner than we all expected.
Sally meant to order 5 pounds of popcorn and got 50 pounds by mistake.
Oh my God! Good luck with that.
That's awesome. Let me send it. I'll send you our address. You can share.
Yeah, share it with us.
That's funny.
But these, those prepping ideas, not everybody thinks about those. You're worried about stocking in cans and that flour and sugar and, rice and beans and stuff. But, you got to get something to just kind of change the pace. Have a little, it'll be fun. I'm actually going to check into that popcorn. That's a good idea. I like that idea. See how long that stuff stores. I hope it's a long time. Also going to look into powder flavored for water, like flavored drinks, orange, grape, cherry, whatever. I'm going to look into that too. So, all right. You guys gave me some ideas. Hopefully I gave you a couple. That's what we're here for, to exchange ideas and have a little fun and, keep our attention on what's happening around us that they keep trying to distract us from. But I'm going to change up my clothes here a little bit tonight. I'm going to say, stack that silver, guys. It's coming. It's coming fast. Pray for the United States of America and stay strong. The Orlando Prepper is out.